Hi y'all, I'm Amber and today I'll be sharing with you my weekly roundup. This week I was able to read two books. I am currently reading one and I will be starting another one in the coming week. So the first book that I finished this week is part of the complete Sherlock Holmes by Sir Arthur Conan Doyle, and I am not going to share it with you because I reorganized my bookshelves and I put it on the very bottom of a pile, and so I really am too lazy to go and deal with the mess that's going to create. But it is A Study in Scarlet, and this is the very first book in that collection. It's where Sherlock Holmes and Watson are just meet and they become roommates, and it's the very first investigation that they work on together, sort of, because with this one, whereas in the TV show Sherlock, I feel like there was a little bit more to what was going on between Holmes and Watson. Here, it felt more like things kind of went from here to here, and then boom, the case was over. It was very straightforward, and I didn't really feel like we were getting much of the investigation, at least the workings of Sherlock Holmes' mind and how he was investigating it. But it was definitely interesting, especially with how Watson is a very curious type person. I feel like he doesn't like anybody to know that, or maybe he's even denied it to himself, but he is a curious type person. He just wants to know everything about Holmes, and it's just so very humorous to kind of see him going like, what's this all about and what's that, and him just trying to figure out Holmes is just very amazing, because I don't think that you can really figure out Sherlock Holmes. It was just interesting, but the mystery itself, I felt like I said, just kind of happened way too fast. The second half of the story is Sherlock Holmes giving you the backstory in detail about the murderer's life and what motivated him. I kind of thrown it into that person's life, so you're getting it in the perspective, sort of the murder. And you might think that would be interesting, but it was very dry. It dragged and was kind of boring. And when you get back into the present time and you're talking to the murderer, it's like you get the same basic story, but with a less going into detail. A detail I kind of didn't really want. I think a lot of other people would disagree with me, because in a way it is important to understand, but in the same sense, I really didn't think it was all that important to go into that much detail. So overall, it was interesting, but I also kind of felt like there was a lot of issues inside of it. So I did give this one 3 stars. The second and last book that I was able to finish this week is Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone by J.K. Rowling. This is the first book in the Harry Potter series, and it is, of course, a reread for me. In rereading this book, I remember how funny it was. It's very humorous, and I really enjoyed the adventure of this first book. But at the very end, there is almost a sinister kind of foreboding, because Harry asks Dumbledore a question and he doesn't answer it. And when I first read it, I didn't feel that foreboding, but seeing the whole story on a whole, I kind of realized, like, oh my gosh, that was an actual foreshadowing of certain things that happened between Dumbledore and Harry. It's all very interesting to kind of see things that you wouldn't see the first time, and I just am really enjoying this, and I just think that J.K. Rowling did such a great job with this series. I'm currently reading 100 Years of Solitude by Gabriel Garcia Marquez. This one is about a mystical city named Macondo, and its rises and falls are told through the founding family. A lot of hope for this book, because I've heard a lot of great things about it, and it's been a book that I've been wanting to get for quite some time. And I got it for Christmas, so I was very excited to pick it up. But in doing so, and reading the first 59 pages, I am starting to realize how boring this book actually is for me. And the fact that I'm having a hard time suspending my disbelief towards this book, because they deal with some very serious things and then trying to build up onto mysticism and things like that. And I'm just having a hard time separating the real things like insomnia and from the mystical stuff that he's trying to, build up the real thing. If you get what I'm saying, I don't know how else to explain it. It's really hard for me, and I really don't like how it's being written, because it's very dry, and I don't know. It's just wasn't what I was expecting. I mean, I knew it was supposed to be a mystical type story, but I didn't really expect it to be written in such a manner. I don't know. I think I kind of fell for the first sentence, and then the rest of the story just fell apart for me. I have only 58 pages in, and I really feel like I need to give it a more harder try because I don't want to give up on this book, especially since I was given it for a gift. And so the story itself about this family in the city is definitely interesting, and I'm curious, but I'm worrying about myself. Like, is my curiosity enough to keep me from giving up on this book? I just don't know. The book that I will be starting this week is A Fine Balance by Rohinton Mistry. This takes place in India, and this is the first book that I have chosen for my book setting challenge, which is basically where I choose 2 books a month, but each of them set in different countries. Tell me down below what you've been reading this past week. I would love to hear what you've been reading. Also, if you have any thoughts on what I've talked about today, I would love to hear your side of things. I thank you all so much for watching, and keep smiling.